podcast. So today on my IG stories, I posted a question, and that question was, ask me anything about my health and fitness journey, because I want to be very transparent with you and allow you to see the behind the scenes and who I truly am and how I've gotten to where I am now, and why am I so passionate about what I am teaching now. And so basically one of my friends asked the question, and she said, how do you stay so motivated, and how long have you been on your journey? And it occurred to me at that very moment, oh my gosh, I need to talk about this. And so I went on my stories and I did answer the question, but it was very long-winded because I am that girl that talks a lot. And so I just wanted to make this into a podcast, since I was doing my podcast today. And I thought it would be so good just to kind of just do an unabridged version, no rehearsal, no anything. I don't fly that way, and I'm not going to start now. And so I wanted to just be real. And so I'm deciding to come on here on YouTube and speak to you, and also record a podcast at the same time. And so with that, let's get started. And so to all my followers who are following me on my podcast, thank you so much for joining me. I am so thrilled to be here. And today we're going to talk about this. We're going to just break it down to where hopefully you can see yourself in my story, and to allow that to give you hope, and to give you some direction, and to give you a sense of ease, and to give you some strength, some inner strength, and then to also allow you to know that you can do this too, okay? And that it's not always been easy for me, and I've grown a lot in the last 6.5 years of this journey. But my journey started 30 years ago, basically. And it started whenever after I had my daughter, and I had about 6 months later, I'd been already working out, to get back into shape and stuff, because I never really, allowed myself to get out of shape. But I always kind of controlled things with diet, not really exercise. I mean, I walked whenever I was pregnant, but I gained 25 pounds and whatnot, and I just wasn't feeling that well. Well, then whenever I got separated from my husband, whenever my daughter was 6 months old, I was like, okay, I got to do something about this. And so I was like, I got to get back into shape. And so I started going to the health club, and I had moved back in with my mom and dad. And so they would take care of Mackenzie while I was in school, and then they would give me some downtime to go and work out. And so I was given that gift from my parents as they watched Mackenzie. And so I thank my mom and dad so much, and I'm so very grateful to them for helping me. It's not like they made me go, it was that I wanted to go, and so they afforded me the opportunity to go. And it was at that time that I decided that I had to take care of myself. I had a little girl who needed her mama, and I needed to be the best version of myself at this time. And I needed to learn who I was. And it wasn't so easy, right? It wasn't so easy, but I went to the health club. I started working out. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, because it was the first time I started lifting weights, to be quite honest. And I didn't know what I was doing. So I had a friend there, and, he showed me different moves. He showed me different techniques. We became very good friends. And that kind of started my journey 30 years ago. Mackenzie is, it would be 30, it's probably 30 years in October, really, because she just turned 30 in April. And so I think it's a cool thing, because I turned 50 in December, and here I am talking about this 30 years ago. And it's such a big journey, right? And so I'm so glad that Dawn asked this question today, because I really don't ever really talk about this. And it's something that I need to talk about. And it's something that needs to be shared, because I think that so many people just think they see your now picture or your after picture, and they don't know where it came from. They don't know how you got there, and they don't ask the questions. And if you're not telling anybody, then how do they know, right? So today in my health journey, it's a lot healthier. And whenever I say that, what I mean is that I really and truly have a good handle on my nutrition because, abs are made in the kitchen. They're not made in the gym. I mean, they're built in the gym, but they're not made in the kitchen. And I mean, they're not made, they're not made there. Like, they're shown in the kitchen. Okay, that's it. Abs are, I love this. Okay. This is just me being real and I'm not editing this out. Abs are built in the gym, but shown in the kitchen. Okay. Same thing with everything else, right? Because I mean, you can work out all you want, but if you're eating like crap, guess what's going to happen? You're not going to have any results. You're not going to have any results. And you probably gain weight because you're going to be like, what the hell I'm doing? Like all this stuff. Trust me, I've been there. But whenever I finally decided to like reel in my nutrition, then that's whenever the magic happened. And I did that. I did that a long time ago, but I didn't do it the healthy way, right? It's like and I always had like this extra layer on me and never really got to see my abs. And even if I would have had abs, I wouldn't have seen them anyway because I suffer from body dysmorphia. And if you don't know what that is, it's a body, it's sort of like a body image issue disorder. Okay, so it's like a DSM-4, disease, basically. It's like an eating disorder, but not. But although I did have disordered eating, so let's like be real, because I would like starve myself, not to the point of like anorexia and bulimia, but like I would eat the salads or eat just the protein bar or what have you, and I wouldn't take care of myself and eat correctly. I went on the cookie diet. I tried the grapefruit diet. I tried the cabbage soup diet, all the different diets. I've been there, done that, right? Calories in, calories out just don't work because what happens is whenever you start eating again, or you start bringing in different foods and you gain the weight back or whatever. So, even though like I always, I had this number in the back of my head that was kind of instilled in me as a young adolescent, that I didn't need to go above 120. That was like this magic number that just kind of came out, probably like within the last year and a half. I recognized that number, like there was always something about if I go over 120, then I'm not gonna, I'm overweight or what have you. I know, right? Crazy. I know it's crazy, but that's my true story. You need to hear it. So let's talk about that. Like, where does that come from? It came from watching. I had an older cousin that I had admired. I love her to death. She was like I guess you could call her like my mentor. If we're going to call her names, I looked up to her. She was perfect. She had the perfect body. She was this, and I remember her always like weighing herself, and she never wanted to be over 120. So at an impressionable age of like 15 or 16, I heard that like a lot. And it was like, okay, well then if she's so perfect the way she is, she had like the small waist and like, her cute butt and all this stuff. And she's, gorgeous. We looked a lot alike. But she always had a boyfriend and stuff. And I was like, okay, so that's the thing. That's how you get a boyfriend. That's what happens. So you need to be that. I didn't know this consciously, but now looking back at it, that's exactly what happened, right? Okay, so I love this because I have so much of awareness about it. And so think about that for yourself. Like if you have that magic number in your head, if you are suffering from body dysmorphia and you haven't gotten healed yet, from it, you can get healed. And it takes a lot of work, but just stick with it and you will become healed. Because I am. And so I'm so grateful for that. And that's, one of the biggest blessings that I've gotten in these recent years of my journey is being healed from body dysmorphia. And so that leads me to my next thing, so I always worked out. I always, did as a stress relief, but I wasn't ever really consistent. I would be like 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 2 days a week, weekends off, weekends on, weekdays off, like all the things, right? Up until like 6.5 years ago. And that's whenever I became a Beachbody coach, and I was just like, okay, I'm doing this. I got to do this. And I stuck to the schedule as much as possible. Like during like the first workout that I did, with Shaun T. I know all of you guys probably know Shaun T. And he had just released this program called T25, and it was like amazing, like 25 minutes, and I was done. It was like perfect. I was a director of nursing in like this high stress job, and I just started. I came out the gate as a coach, and I was just like this on fire, for Beachbody and just for working out. And I got amazing results whenever I took the principles of the nutrition program into account. And that was 6.5 years ago. Whenever I started doing T25, and then 2 weeks later, I was like, okay, well, if I am going to build this business, then I've got to do the containers, the nutrition part with it. And so that's what I did. I went all in on the nutrition, and oh my gosh, I saw amazing changes in my body. Like I was eating 1,600, 1,800 calories a day, with the containers, and it was all about portion control, and it was eating 5 to 6 meals a day. I had enough carbs and had enough, it was like yellow containers for a carb and little bitty things, and it's like, oh my God, no wonder I've been eating like a whole damn sweet potato. And I remember having so much clarity in that and seeing my body change. And that's how this happens. It's like, whenever you become aware of something and you can put it to an experience that you're having, that's how the magic happens. That's where all the magic happens. That's how you can change your mindset. That's how you can change your beliefs about something. That's how you can internalize what you need to internalize and make it fit you. Okay. And so I did that for a while, did all the programs, did everything. And fast forward like 2.5, 3 years later, and then Chalene Johnson came out with the nutrition program at the same time that we were going to be doing a new program called 80-Day Obsession with Autumn Calabrese. And it was the nutrition that Autumn had in her program was about time nutrition. And it was about eating breakfast in the morning and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, I hadn't eaten breakfast in the morning other than after my workout, like forever. And this was all about eating before you work out and all this stuff. It's about time nutrition. It was, it's very good. I've done it and it works. But it's just not something that I did long term. Right. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, this is just something I'm not quite sure about this. And Chalene, I had already started working with Chalene on this 131 method that she had come out with. And it was all about phasing your nutrition and like changing it up, like every 4 weeks, changing your nutrition up. And I love the concept because it was in line with what I was learning about my body and how my body was reacting with the fitness component. Okay. So I was changing up my fitness with all these different programs because you work out for a program for 6 to 9 weeks or sometimes 12 weeks, and then you change it and you go to another program. Okay. So you're working you're working all the same muscle groups, but in different ways. Okay. And you're changing up your flexibility by doing some yoga, in there for your recovery days. There was like one program was like, I did 60 days of like, kickboxing, and that was amazing. I loved it. Great results. Still doing those containers. Right. And then we go into this 80-day obsession part of it. And it's like, okay, I'm doing this workout, and it was all about heavy lifting. I was like, but I'm really invested with Chalene because I had started in her beta test group in July and August. And so now this other program was rolling out in January. And so I was doing Chalene's method and I liked it. And so her program was going to be releasing in November. And so I was like, okay, I'm already on the bandwagon for this. So I'm going to just go in with this. So I did I started her program in November, did my before pictures. And then we started 80-Day Obsession in January. And guys, I have to tell you that it was amazing. Like my workouts were so good. I did this whole phasing of my nutrition. So basically you did like a ketogenic diet for 4 weeks, not forever, and then the next 4 weeks you would do a plant-based diet. And then the next 4 week you would do her version or the program's version of carb cycling, which was incredible. It was incredible. Like I loved it. It was just amazing. And so that was the key. I did that. And every 4 weeks I would rotate. And I cooked a lot. And, and Chris didn't know what the hell I was doing. He was like eating whatever I was cooking. And so he would eat it, he was working with at waiter, and so he was eating, and they would get like stuff brought in and delivered for lunches and everything, and then he'd eat this healthy meal with me at night. And he already kind of did intermittent fasting on his own, because he never drank coffee, and he didn't eat breakfast, so he was already kind of used to that. So he just did whatever. And so but he wasn't exercising. And then, fast forward to, 2018. Yeah, no, 2019. And that's whenever, like, so 2018 to 2019, that's whenever we took the company public in 2018. And things got crazy, like crazy stress, all the things. And so evidently my stress level was high, but I didn't even freaking know it, because I was still working out. I was crushing my workouts. I was working out even more. But then it was like, where is this extra pack of insulation coming from? It was like, I was like, this can't be right. What the hell is going on? Well, fast forward 2 years, I finally found out the answer. Like, I obviously really fast forward, like last year, right before we went into the queue, right? Was basically, I had just started Shalene's new program, Phase It Up, which was it was basically the same thing as what she was doing, but she had more phases as the 131 method. Because I had since gone back into like using the containers for like 4 weeks, doing doing intermittent fasting, for 6 to 8 weeks at a time. We were traveling a lot during 2018, and things were just like, blowing and, going and blowing or whatever. 2018, 2019, yeah. And I mean, things were great, but there was this like low level stress that was happening. And I was also, let's go back to how old I am. I'm 50 now. And so I was 47, 48 at that time. And I had no idea about this perimenopause thing. Okay. Just hearing this word for the first time, even though I'm a nurse, you hear about menopause, but it's like, I started hearing about this word like 8 or 9 months ago. Well, basically not 8 or 9 months ago, a year ago, whenever Shalene released the Phase It Up, her Phase It Up program that I was in. And not until, it wasn't in May, but basically she had a new program, because she's a year older than me. So she's 51. So I'm like right behind her. And so in age. And so we kind of have like the same like body style and stuff. Met her. She's like an inch shorter than me, but anyway, just saying. We're the same height if she's got heels on, but love her. She's great. She's great. It has inspired me in my journey a lot since I've known her. But she basically is that type of person that brings things to her life in the way of nutrition and her fitness that relate directly to her, and then she shares them with the world. And that's me. That's me. Okay. That's just how I am. Like, I mean, I just want to help as many people as I possibly can, but I want to help the certain person, right? This certain person that falls into the category of like in her 40s, she's like in perimenopause today, or she doesn't even know she's in perimenopause because she doesn't have any symptoms and she still has a damn cycle. That's me. Okay. I don't have any symptoms. The only symptom that I was having that I didn't realize was that during my PMS, I would get a little bit of self-doubt, like about my business, about different things. And my body, and, like the body dysmorphia would kind of flare up during this week of, right before my period. And I had been tracking my period, but only like to let me know when my period would start, to where I knew that I needed, like if I was ovulating or whatever, about sex and all that kind of stuff, to where I knew we needed to use protection or what have you, make sure we're being more careful. So that was the reasoning why I was tracking my period. I wasn't tracking it like I track it now. And so he started hearing this, and I was like, oh man, maybe I'm in perimenopause. I was like, but that's impossible. Then I started hearing about this 5 to 10 pounds. And then I started looking at my graphs of like my weight. And I was like, there was times whenever I would jump up to like 127. Like I was like, what the hell? Like, and I remember, okay, I traveled or whatever, and da 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 da, and it's stress and it's fluid, and and I would get back down to like 119, 118, and then it would go creep back up and then creep back down. Anyway, and so it was just like this crazy thing, and I didn't really pay too much of attention to it. Although it all started to click and make sense whenever I was like, okay, my clothes don't fit like they used to. I was like, what is this about? What's this? Like, I don't even understand. Like they were getting tighter whenever I say they weren't fitting, right? Like they used to. It wasn't ever getting bigger, they were getting tighter. And I was like, I'm doing the same thing, if not doing more workouts, lifting heavier. And I was like, it ain't muscle. It's like it's like I should be able to see things differently. I'm sure it was muscle underneath the fat, but there was something that was like this layer of insulation. And I say that because that's what it was. That's what I felt. I felt like I had like an extra layer on me. Okay. I'm not sure if you can relate to that or not, but if you can, you know what I'm talking about. And then basically I was like, okay, I got to dig deeper into this. And I started hearing more about, this, phasing it. So it's phasing your diet. So I started phasing right whenever, Q started last year, dropped all the weight. I was back down to like 116. And I was like, whoa, well, there's something to this ketogenic diet. I was like, hmm. And then the next 4 weeks, I'm doing, it's called recharge, where you're basically doing plant-based and you're lowering your animal proteins and you're still having them. But, I started getting really deep into the organic food and into the grass-fed beef and into just like, organic eggs and just taking care of my body, like taking a real good hard look again at like inflammatory foods that I had like let creep in, like the bananas, like the, peanut butter, even though I was using organic and natural. I mean, peanut butter is such a damn toxin. It's got neurotoxins in it, and it really can inflame you that you don't even realize it. It's a sneaky little baby. Tomatoes, I love tomatoes, but you know what? They are sneaky, and they have, lectins in them, and they're just a nightshade vegetable, and it's like one of those things where it can kind of trigger you to bloat and different things like that, and hold on to that fluid, and so I became very in tune to what was going on with my body, and so through Q, that's what happened. I evolved. I grew. Like I was like, oh wow. And I was stabilizing at this 116, 117. And I was like, this is amazing. So then here we go. And I'm in January and I'm like still stable. And then all of a sudden I see a IG live with Dave Asprey, the creator of Bulletproof, the Bulletproof Diet, and Gabby Bernstein, my spiritual coach. And I'm like, what is this that he is talking about? And basically, he had a new book that came out called Fast This Way. And he just started talking about how women need to fast differently. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I had started all of a sudden seeing different workouts for women and to fast and to work out differently throughout the month. And I was like, what is this? What is this? And I started digging deeper. And then I got turned on to Dr. Mindy Pelz, who is this phenomenal Silicon Valley tech guru chiropractor, basically who does all the biohacks just like Dave Asprey does, but for women. And it's like, you already know that I have my infrared sauna, which I didn't even know that was a damn biohack whenever I got it, but it's a biohack machine. So I was like, what the heck? I'm like, okay, this makes so much sense. And so I immediately like took a deep dive into all of this. And I was like, this is incredible. And so guys, the thing about it is that if you start to do intermittent fasting, you have to do it the right way, because you can really screw up your metabolism. You can really screw up your body if you do it all the time and you do it too much. And so, having a coach like myself is so important. And so if you need that help, please reach out and let me know if you need help with that. And I will be having, a course on intermittent fasting and how to fast for your health and how not to get caught in the fasting trap, and how to eat the ketogenic way. But the keto is, I do it a ketobiotic way, and I cycle it because that is key. Cycling is so key, and that's kind of like phasing your diet, but instead of every 4 weeks, I'm cycling it with my menstrual cycle. And if you don't have a menstrual cycle, you can still do it because we all cycle during perimenopause, where some people's periods are like all over the place. And even in menopause, like, which is basically if you haven't had a period in 12 months, then you are officially considered menopausal, and postmenopausal is after that date, after that 12th month anniversary. So the thing about it is that we as women all cycle. And so what I have seen and what I have learned in these last, like, since February, basically, is this a vast amount of knowledge and this a vast amount of, like, just what's the word? Just the keys to our health and our nutrition that goes even beyond what got you started, maybe. And that's going to keep you started, and that's going to keep you not quitting, because I'm all about, like, what can keep you started and to continue to help you grow. It's not just about health and nutrition, though. It's also about the journey of your spiritual life, your spiritual self. How did you get here? You have to ask yourself. And you have to continue to ask yourself, how am I going to get there? And what is there? And what does there mean to me? And what are my goals? And what are my goals now? Because my goals now, as a 50-year-old woman who is having minimal perimenopause symptoms, what are my goals to get to menopause and thrive through menopause, like to get there and to continue on? That's my goal, that I want to thrive through it. And so I know that rest and recovery now is so, so important. And I used to hear this all the time, and I just would not do it because I remember telling myself, oh yeah, exercise is my outlet. Exercise is, I gotta exercise to release all the stress and all the pressure and everything. Well, you know what? I don't have a lot of freaking stress and pressure right now, right? And the only stress and pressure that I have is what I put up on myself, and that I do not release. But now that I am really working on the whole holistic health. Okay. And that goes back to my nursing background, where it's all about your spiritual condition. It's all about your mindset, your emotional health, and it's all about your physical health, which is your body, your health, like that's your nutrition and your fitness and your recovery and your sleep. That's all included in the body part, okay? And then the mindset is, what are you doing? Like, are you affirming yourself? Are you believing that you can get through whatever you got to get through each and every day? And I had all this, the affirmations and the journey, and the parts that I didn't have, just for you to know, is that I didn't really have the sleep hygiene. Like, I really didn't have the understanding of how important sleep is to build your muscles and to build the body that you want, okay? And that's like imperative. I didn't realize how important meditation was, not only to my emotional health, but also to my spiritual life and to my mindset and to my physical life. It all goes around. It all goes around. And what all this does is it helps you be a better person. It helps you be a better mom. It helps you be a better wife. It helps you, be better at just being a better grandmother, if that's where you're at in your life, like myself. Yes, I'm a Mimsy and proud of it. I love my babies. And, it helps you be a better friend. It helps you be a better coach. It helps you be a better student. It helps you be a better human being, right? It's like, that's what it's about. It's about that, like the whole holistic Holistic health is about becoming a better you and a better human, right? To where we can, whenever we are better and we are our best, we can give it back to others and we can share our best because people are watching, regardless of whether you think they are or they're not, they are watching you. Your children are watching your behaviors, your grandchildren are watching your behaviors, your husband is watching your behaviors, your students, your nurses, your patients, your whoever is watching you, your employer, your employees, whoever it is, everybody's watching you, and you are a leader in that aspect. You are a leader of your family, you are a leader at work, you are a leader in the community, you are a leader because people are looking at you and they are wondering if you are on this health journey, they are wondering how you got there and they want to know to where they can get there too, because so many, it's the missing link that so many people desire and so many people want and need, and they don't know how to get there. And that's what this is all about. So I want you to know that whenever you learn to live your life unapologetically and authentically, and to just be you and do what you want to do in regards to what you want to do for your health, your nutrition, your fitness, your emotional health, if you want to go to a therapist, go to a therapist. If you need a coach, a personal life coach, you get a coach. If you need a fitness coach, you get a coach. I'm one. If you need a holistic health coach, I'm one. That's what you need. You need someone that knows and understands that there's a big, big picture. It's not just about diet, baby. It's not just about working out either. And it's not just about praying. It's about all three. They all got to cross and they all got to intersect. All of them. It's like, the infinity loop. It's all like this. That just came to me. But that's what it is. And so I just want you to know that you can get here, you can get there. I don't care what anybody has told you. And I've seen it happen many, many, many times. I've seen people lose weight and gain it all back. And now they're like going back down and they are so happy with who they are, because sometimes you gotta go through things in life to make you appreciate what you have and what you have lost and what you have gained. And God has a way with making things, everything that you need is right here in front of you. Everything that you need is right here for you. And I just want to encourage you, and I want to let you know that He's here for you and that you just have to put in the work, because it's not easy, baby. Sorry, nothing in life is easy, but it's all worth it. So remember that, just like with anything. And, it's just like starting a new job. Is it going to be easy? No, you got to learn a whole bunch of stuff. Like as a nurse, like I had to be precepted and blah, 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 blah. And 6 weeks, not, 9 weeks, 12 weeks, whichever. I was in a residency program twice or whatever, like for labor and delivery. Like, I'm telling you, it's you still got to put in the work. So the same thing, like you need to just think of this as like, I'm going in, I'm going to do this for 12 weeks. I'm going to give it my all. And I am going to learn the principles. I'm going to learn what I need to do. I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. I'm going to keep track and I'm going to check in. I'm going to be accountable to my coach and I'm going to get what I need. That's what I did. That's what I do. And so I just want you to know that. And I want you to leave this podcast or this YouTube live that you're listening to. I want you to leave this conversation and I want you to know, and I want you to trust. And I want you just to feel that anything is possible, but you have to decide, you have to sign a sacred contract with yourself, and you have to set goals, and you have to set yourself up for success. Like I talked about last week on the podcast, all about like organizing what's happening and what you're going to do. Because if you don't have a starting point, you don't have a notebook, or you don't have a syllabus for the class that you're taking, let's go back to school, right? Then how the hell are you going to get from point A to point B if you don't have your objectives, if you don't have like your plan, if you don't know how many tests are going to be involved? All that matters, guys. Everything that we learned in school and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff that you thought wasn't very useful and everything, it all pertains to what you need to deal with life on life's terms. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM me. And of course, I always ask for a 5-star review, because the more people that can hear and hear this podcast, I think that we can change the world, and that we can just help women know that they are beautiful from the inside out, and that they have the capabilities to do whatever they want in their lives. And I'm all about empowering my women, because guess what? If we empower women, we empower our daughters. And if we empower our daughters, we empower our granddaughters. And when we empower our granddaughters, we break the chains of those generational curses that have been instilled upon us. And so let's break some chains. Let's chisel away at the hard shit that we've gone through, because we are really, really, really rising. And I want you to reignite with me. All right. Love you guys. Bye. Thank y'all so much for being on this YouTube live. I don't even know who's watching, but thank you so much. And I will be saving this to my YouTube channel. And with that, I'll have to say goodbye. All right, bye.